we have a responsibility as Swami to represent our identity in a new way musically, and like Surya was saying, we're bringing these ideas of fusion together in a new way, in a pop way, in a way in which it truly represents us growing up as Indian people, but being very much British at the same time.
I started doing purely hip hop when I was around 14. That was the exclusive type of music that I was doing. When I started working with DJ Swami, the concept for the first album that we were doing was blending sort of hard-hitting street rhythms and hip-hop and rock with Desi music, because there weren't really a lot of people doing that at the time, and we were able to create something quite original and have it be part of a bigger movement that happened over the course of the next few years. So that was the concept. From then, I started singing, writing a lot more vocal parts, and at this point, I don't just do the raps.
Being in this country, I've seen that being British isn't one thing, and being Indian isn't one thing. If you're an Indian, you might be an Indian who's very artistic and into your classical side of the music, but then there's Bhangra. A lot of the British Asian acts are very urban, and they only represent that side of the Indian people living in Britain. But what about those who play instruments, and what about those who are more creative on the organic level? There needs to be someone who can represent both of those sides.
We don't really like to call it fusion music, because that kind of can sound a bit contrived. It's just the kind of original music that we make as people who are British and Asian, and it takes in all the influences of the music that we all heard growing up.
The whole reason why Swami was created was just to question our identity. Swami stands for so who am I? Who am I? Where do I come from? Where do I belong? Am I Indian? Am I British? Let my music represent that.
We want to be at the top of the pop charts simultaneously in the US and in India and here, and it's probably the most difficult thing that anybody could ever try and pull off, as we found during the course of doing it, but we like a challenge.
I talked to my cousin in Chandigarh and I said to him, you're at college. I said, are all your lectures in English? He said, yeah, they're all in English. And I said to him, well, what do you do at the weekend? He says, I go to the mall with my friends. I said, so your whole life is just the same as the kid in England, really, isn't it? There's not a lot of difference, really. We're all living in this with this global aspiration.